What's up guys, and welcome back to another eBay miniature rescues. Today we're going to work on this Weirdnob Shaman from the Ironjawz. I paid $12 shipped for this model, which is pretty good considering what it usually costs, around $25. It's got a pretty decent coat of paint on it. It's pretty thin. It looks like it was done with an airbrush and someone started a project and just didn't finish it. So I'm going to take this opportunity to just further it along, starting with Menoth White Highlight. So right now I'm just trying to set up for some other colors that are going to be coming in after with the airbrush. On the cloak, we're going to start with some really bright yellow. We're going to use some inks to tint it. And then on the smoke plume, the magic smoke, the white's going to make sure that we have really nice bright colors to do some cool transitions. So a keen observer would notice that this model is missing parts. For some reason I just completely missed it, even though I already own one of these. So I'm gonna go dig a little deep in my bits closet to see what I can get as a replacement. So the first thing I noticed was this Skaven box. I've got a bunch of extra heads for these guys, and they've got pretty nice horns that I might be able to cinch together with some string or something, but no, it's not gonna work. We're gonna find something else. We're gonna go super deep here. We're gonna look at 40k even. We're not even gonna look at Age of Sigmar anymore. Chaos Defiler. Alright, let's take a look and see what kind of sprues and what kind of stuff we have left in this box. This I got, well, you can tell by this paint, probably 15 years ago at this point. I was actually a friend of mine's and he put this together. I know he left some of this stuff because he left it at my house that long ago. So I'm looking at these heads in here, and some of them look pretty cool. You get some horns on, kind of masks that go over the Defiler's face. Seems to be missing one though. That's not good. Maybe if we dig a little deeper, check beneath. Alright, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. It's got some horns, got a nice mask. I'm gonna chop off the lower jaw and see what we can do to put this guy together. This Citadel paint is old and it's still good, which just proves that the new bottles are garbage. So a little filing away, got rid of some mold lines, chopped off the lower jaw like I said. It fits really nicely. This is a perfectly good example of why you should always keep your boxes if you have sprues and bits laying around. Even if you cut them off and put them in a smaller box, you never know when you're going to need something, especially if you're buying from eBay. You can just put some random stuff together and just make a really unique model with parts that you just had laying around. You know, I think this calls for a redo. It's a redo! Redo! Yeah, let's do it. Alright, seeing as we have some new plastic on here, we're going to start with Vallejo Surface Primer White and just go over the front face with the new mask and then just a little bit of the top just to give it that nice highlight of white. Alright, so this one's new for me. It's FW's Brilliant Yellow Ink. It's acrylic ink, and it's supposed to be used through an airbrush. You can use it in a pen. You can use it with a regular brush too. But inks generally, they harden nicely, and you can pretty much put it over any variation of color, and it will just tint the brightest colors with that yellow. So doing these yellow cloaks, they're very bright. Using Escorpina Green, I'm going to go over the smoke plume and just start with that as a base coat. Using Incubi Darkness through the airbrush, I'm going to spray the lower half of all of the cloak areas to set us up for some freehand stuff later on. Using Strachan Green, I'm going to go over all the skin. Menoth White base for the skulls and bones. Mournfang Brown for the straps and pouches. Cassandora Yellow for all of the yellow. Nuln Oil for the dark areas on the cloak and the helmet. Seraphim Sepia for all of the bone and straps. Athonian Camo Shade for all the skin. Bringing back Incubi Darkness, I'm going to layer over all the high points on the cloak and the helmet. Mixing some Menoth White base into about a 50-50 ratio with the Incubi Darkness, I'm just going to hit all of the highest points to give kind of an edge highlight to the cloak and the helmet. Now with straight Menoth White base, I'm going to go over all of the folds and high points on any of the yellow parts of the cloak. Now with Cadian Flesh Tone, I'm going to dot all of the knuckles on the hands and feet, and I'm also going to pick out the lower lip. Using Menoth White base, again, I'm going to layer over all of the bone. With Menoth White highlight, we're going to get brave with our airbrush and do a little bit of pre-highlighting over the eyes to set us up for a really nice glow effect later on. It's always good to keep a small piece of paper, scrap paper, laying around so that you can use it as a shield if you're trying to do transitions on things that would be otherwise impossible with the airbrush. I'm also going to do some top-down highlights with this white over the smoke plume just to set us up for some other colors just to keep them bright, starting with Magic Blue. I'm going to put a little bit of gory red into the pot mixed with that blue, a little more red than blue to give a nice deep purple, and just add a third color to this smoke plume. Starting fresh on the airbrush with Moot Green, this is where those white highlights are really going to come into play. This green is a lot more saturated and brighter than that other green, so we're just going to introduce a little bit of that into the bottom section where it kind of started smoking, and it's going to really brighten it up and make it look really nice and glowy. This is also what we're going to use to cover the eyes and give that nice glowing effect coming through the helmet. With Menoth White highlight, I'm going to go in and highlight the sharper edges on the helmet where that green is brightest. Continuing with that Menoth white, I'm going to go over all of the cloak and kind of hit each of the highest points on the white lines where the yellow is, and then I'm going to stipple in some star patterns and just draw straight lines, you know, the kind of classic star look over the entire cloak. And here it is from the beginning. So this is what we started with, a $12 model. It was missing something, which I didn't really realize, which is probably why it made it so cheap. But hey, you know, that's why we have bit boxes everywhere, and you know, we can make something cool out of nothing. In the end, I think we definitely got our $12 out of this model. I think it turned out pretty well. I like the free hand on the back. The star pattern looks pretty good, especially from 3 feet away. Just sitting on the table with the rest of the Ironjawz, this Weirdnob definitely stands out. Love to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.